the undisputed, the undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
I'm the most thuggish nigga out here. I have no mother feet. I have no feet. I have only ambition. And I want my...
What they don't know is the border. I went from rocks to Z's, writing raps and movies. I went from trusting these tricks. Now they all want to sue me, so
There has never been a boxer quite like Mike Gerard Tyson. The American heavyweight took the sport by storm in the late 1980s, becoming the youngest ever fighter to win a world title in the division in the 1986 at the age of just 20. Today, we are going to highlight the boxing genius that was Tyson, who often had opponents beaten before they entered the ring. Let's have a look at the 10 best performances of Iron Mike's 56-fight professional career, which saw him pick up 50 victories, with 44 of those coming by way of knockout. Number 10. Henry Tillman, 1990. The fight billed as the road back after Tyson's devastating loss to James Buster Douglas 4 months prior. While Tillman was far from the most fearsome opponent of Iron Mike's career, his first round knockout victory was a huge statement of intent. Tyson needed to bounce back after arguably the biggest upset in boxing history, and he did so, sending the punters in the Caesar Palace Hotel wild. Number 9. Tony Tubbs, 1988. The first fight of Tyson's career outside of the US was certainly a memorable one. The 21-year-old champ lit up the Tokyo Dome with a devastating performance, finishing the fight at the end of the round 2 with a trademark snap left hook. Tubbs actually connected with some shots of his own in the opening round of the fight, which stunned Tyson into action. Making Iron Mike angry was never a good ploy, and the champ's quick and brutal turnaround would set up a record-breaking meeting with Michael Spinks. Number 8. Frank Bruno, 1989. Tyson's first defense as the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world was truly empathetic. Bruno was seen as the people's champion, but he simply couldn't handle his American adversary. Tyson dominated proceedings with brutal power punches, inflicting serious damage before the referee stepped in with just short of 10 seconds left of the 5th round. This was Tyson at his very best against a formidable opponent. Number 7. MARVIS FRAZIER, 1986. The quickest knockout of Tyson's glittering power punch-filled career. Frazier's only prior loss going into the bout was against Larry Holmes in 1983. And before the meeting with Tyson, the Philadelphia-born fighter had 6 consecutive victories under his belt. But 15 seconds into the fight, Iron Mike landed the sweetest of uppercuts to floor Frazier, with the fight eventually called off after just 30 seconds. What a statement it was from Tyson. Number 6. TYRELL Biggs, 1987. Biggs stood at 6 feet 5 and won a gold medal at the 1984 Summer Olympics. His frame and boxing IQ were supposed to seriously test Tyson and perhaps overwhelm him. But despite Iron Mike standing at just 5 feet 10, Tyson overcame Biggs' size, speed, and agility with a combination of awesome power and a supreme boxing talent. He claimed victory by technical knockout in the 7th to retain his heavyweight belts. Number 5. Frank Bruno, 1996. Tyson's rematch with Bruno was littered with backstories. It was only Iron Mike's 3rd fight after his 4-year sabbatical from the sport, after being imprisoned, and he was coming up against a fearsome opponent after 2 relatively easy warm-up bouts previous. But it was like Tyson had never been away, winning victory courtesy of a 3rd round technical knockout to win the WBC heavyweight strap once again. An iconic comeback performance. Number 4. Larry Holmes, 1988. The night Tyson got revenge for Muhammad Ali, Holmes had been retired for 2 years prior to the meeting, but the 38-year-old was still in the top-tip physical shape for the fight. However, he was no match for the younger Tyson. Iron Mike dismantled the legendary former champion inside 4 rounds, cementing his place as the most fearsome boxer on the planet. Number 3. Tony Tucker, 1987. This fight will always go down as one of Tyson's hardest ever. Tucker was a completely talented fighter and held the IBF heavyweight strap for a time in 1987. Tyson had to dig deep to overcome early pressure but secure a hugely important victory by unanimous decision. Young Iron Mike was used to getting the job done early, but this was proof he had the stamina to back up his greatness. Number 2. Trevor BERBICK, 1986. The night Tyson became the youngest heavyweight world champion in history, a record that still stands today. At age 20, Iron Mike took on the highly rated WBC champ and absolutely destroyed him inside 2 rounds. Tyson had announced himself to the world. The most exciting boxer on the planet was here, and 2 years later, he would have his finest hour. Number 1. Michael SPINKS, 1988. This was the hour, the night that the legendary heavyweight made the entire sporting world stand up and listen. SPINKS was unbeaten in 31 fights, with 21 knockouts to his name, but even he was no match for his opponent. It took just 91 seconds for Tyson to knock out SPINKS, who was the ring and lineal champ at the time, in a fight that was the richest in the sport's history up until that point, grossing around $70 million. Both men have since been inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame, shedding more light on what a truly monumentous victory it was for Iron Mike. Tyson had quite the career. With many devastating victories, it's just a shame that his boxing reputation was soared in the latter stages of his career. But in the early stages of his career and after his comeback, he was an absolute machine and a fighter that we'll never see the like of again. If you like our content, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.